always on the go, but the day just won't be one without your Hollywood fix. Let Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast take care of that. An all-inclusive look of pop culture.
Welcome to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and I am happy to be with you on this first Sunday in July. Hope you had a wonderful 4th of July. If you had a long weekend, I hope that you were able to get out and do something, whatever makes you happy, whether that's being with friends, being with family, being quiet by yourself, whatever it is. We had a very quiet 4th of July in my family. The hubby and I stayed home with the dogs, who thankfully are not scared of fireworks. They've never been bothered by fireworks, and I don't know if that's because we just plunk them in bed with us at night when it starts to get noisy, or if they just, I don't know, doesn't bother them. And trust me, my one dog is scared of everything. He's scared of beef jerky. So the fact that he's not scared of fireworks is a small miracle to me. At any rate, I am glad to be with you on this 4th of July weekend Sunday, if that's a thing. And we are here to talk about some entertainment news. In entertainment news that is everywhere right now, we will turn to soccer, which is not a sport I know a lot about. I have friends whose children play soccer. I know that people love soccer. I just have never quite figured out the rules. Like, I watch soccer. I got to have somebody sit down with me sometime who really understands it and explain everything to me while it's happening, which is not the time that people necessarily want to explain. You know, if they're really big soccer fans, they don't want to sit and explain to a novice everything that's going on. Maybe, yeah, so I got to figure that out because I do not quite understand all of the rules. But the women have won. The U.S. women's soccer team has won their 4th Women's World Cup title today, which is very exciting. It's awesome. It is everywhere on my social media news feeds, people celebrating, and I think it's awesome. I'm not going to try to be one of those fans who's like, yeah, women's soccer, I don't know anybody on the team. I mean, I think it's cool, and I celebrate, and I definitely celebrate with the people who are tried and true fans. But, you know, I think it's really cool that they won, and if I understood soccer at all, I would have watched games. But the story is the team captain, Megan Rapinoe? Yeah, Megan Rapinoe actually quoted the late rapper Nipsey Hussle after their win. She did this on Instagram. She posted a picture of herself holding the trophy, and it says, "Ain't really trip on the credit. I just paid all of my dues. I just respected the game. Now my name all in the news. Tripping on all of my moves. Quote me on this. Got a lot more to prove." Yes, that was the worst reading of rap ever, but not going to try to do it in either way. She also tagged the late rapper's Instagram handle on the post and included the hashtag TMC, which is a nod to his motto, "The Marathon Continues." The women's team secured the title today after a 2-0 victory over the Netherlands in the final. A penalty kick by Rapinoe in the 61st minute contributed to the U.S. women's 2nd consecutive World Cup championship and 4th in the 8 tournaments that have been played. It also earned her the Golden Ball and Golden Boot Award for Best Player and Top Goal Scorer. And so I guess that looks like what she is holding in the Instagram picture. See, I told you I didn't know anything about soccer. The quote, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, comes from Hustle's 2018 song, Hustle and Motivate. The Grammy-nominated rapper and activist, of course, was... So that was kind of a sad note, but on the happier note, congratulations to the women's soccer team, the U.S. women's soccer team. That is awesome, and congratulations to Rapinoe on the what was it, Golden Ball and Boot Award. I really got to learn more about soccer. It was an awesome day for soccer fans, and I really enjoyed watching everyone's reactions on social media. So that was awesome. In other entertainment news, we like to talk about Game of Thrones here. Now that it's over, we can give away all the spoilers. No, there's no spoilers, because this is not necessarily about Game of Thrones, but it is about Emilia Clarke, and who played, of course, Daenerys Targaryen on the show. And she has actually recently opened up about the stress that she put on herself to, quote-unquote, force herself to feel better following her brain aneurysm. She actually suffered a life-threatening brain hemorrhage between seasons 1 and 2 of the HBO show in 2011. That is very scary. Years after keeping her medical emergency and recovery out of the spotlight, she has chosen to reveal her experiences in a personal essay for The New Yorker. She wrote how she suffered a subarachnoid hemorrhage, a rare but life-threatening type of stroke, while she was working out with a personal trainer at the gym. She then underwent surgery and suffered horrendous memory loss for a short time after the episode, also suffering anxiety and fatigue as she attempted to feel normal again. And now she is keen to spread the message of the seriousness of strokes as her charity Same You partnered with the Royal College of Nursing Foundation, shedding more light on how she continued to recover. The strain exhausted me more than anything, forcing myself to feel okay, she said. There are pictures of her after the stroke, looking, of course, exhausted. My goodness. She said, "If I can help a young person who was in the state I was in, I know they would be lifted and feel lighter in themselves. The ability to feel open and vulnerable when you're just making your mark, when you don't want to seem vulnerable, is important." Amelia added her goal was to make sure young people have others around them they can feel vulnerable and open with during their recovery. Drawing upon her own personal experiences, she added, "I have an incredibly personal experience with nurses. There's currently a lack of eyes on brain injury recovery. It's the thing that brings people back to life. It's the thing that gives people back their life." She said that as well as a stroke not being something one might expect to happen to someone in their 20s or 30s, the mental health aspect of the condition affected her immensely. She added, "I was cared for by 2 specialist nurses, but I saw where the gaps were and where I had to help myself." So she also wrote, "My trainer had me get into the plank position, and I immediately felt as though an elastic band were squeezing my brain." This is what she said when she had the aneurysm. She tried to ignore the pain and continue with the workout, but it became more difficult, and she then had to almost crawl back to the locker room before sinking to her knees and becoming, quote-unquote, violently, voluminously ill. Sounds incredibly scary. Meanwhile, the pain, shooting, stabbing, constricting pain, was getting worse. At some level, I knew what was happening. My brain was damaged. Wow. She even says that in her worst moments, she wanted to pull the plug. She asked the medical staff to let her die. My job, my entire dream of what my life would be, centered on language, on communication. Without that, she said she was lost, because after the surgery, and after the stroke and then after a surgery, she still suffered, memory loss. She struggled to remember her own name even. That is a condition known as aphasia. She says about the loss of communication, "Without that, I was lost. I was sent back to the ICU, and after about a week, the aphasia passed, and I was able to speak." That is incredibly scary, of course. I have friends who have had strokes and family members who have had strokes, none of them, though, as young as Amelia, but I know it happens. A brain scan in 2013 revealed that a second aneurysm had doubled in size and required another operation, which failed, and she suffered a massive bleed, forcing doctors to operate again, this time accessing her brain through her skull. She suffered from anxiety and panic attacks and felt like a shell of herself, she wrote. She revealed that her health has improved in the years since. In fact, it's improved beyond her most unreasonable hopes, and now it is at 100%. So that is wonderful news. At any rate, that article is in the New Yorker that she wrote, that personal essay. That is, I know I've said it already, but that's amazingly scary. And it's good that she's opening up about it, talking about it, not from a publicity standpoint or, anything like that, but just the fact that people do look up to her. People know her from Game of Thrones, and she has a platform because of that in which to talk about this and to talk about her experience and hopefully encourage others to understand what it means when someone has a stroke, what can happen, what your options might be. So I think that is a good thing. We are going to take our first break of the podcast, and when we come back, we'll be talking about more entertainment news. Stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, and I will be right back.
Golden State Media Concepts bring you Book Review Podcast, a haven for bookworms of all ages and the widest genres, from mystery to memoirs, romance to comedy, fantasy to sci-fi. If you love to read, this is a podcast for you. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Book Review Podcast.
Personal essay that she wrote for the New Yorker. We're going to move on to some happier news, and that is that, baby Archie, you know that I love my royal news and just find the whole thing fascinating, but Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's baby, Archie, was christened over the weekend, was baptized over the weekend. They call it christening, and they, of course, posted formal pictures. The christening itself was private, so there weren't the pictures that we got with William and Kate's children, kind of going into the chapel and coming out, etc., for the baby ogling. But they did release two pictures, one on Instagram of the three of them, Meghan, Harry, and Archie, in black and white. And you can actually see the baby's face. That's the first time that they've released a picture of his full face. Of course, he's adorable, but I'm going to think that my husband would tell you that I think all babies are adorable, which they are. Even the ones that aren't cute are adorable. It's just the nature of babies. Yeah. And then they released the formal portrait. The Queen and Prince Philip were not there. They also didn't attend Louis' christening. I have no idea what the royal protocol is on all of that. But the picture includes Prince Charles and Camilla, of course, Harry, Meghan, and Archie, William and Kate, and then two of their aunts, I believe. And of course, Doria is there. Meghan's mother, Doria Ragland, is there. Everyone looks lovely. The formal portraits I always find interesting because they really are very formal, just the way that everything is posed and everything. Yeah. Archie, of course, has on the ginormously voluminous, long baptismal gown, which is amazing. All the babies seem to have this look on their face like, seriously, what did you just put me in? This thing is huge, and it's fluffy, and it's slippery. As someone who has much experience with very slippery baptismal gowns and trying to hold babies in them, it's difficult. When they squirm, yeah, you don't want to drop a baby, obviously, but those baptismal gowns are slippery, and that one is very, very voluminous, as I said, lots and lots of fabric. At any rate, I, of course, looked at the pictures to see what the adorable little Archie looks like with his full face. You may have heard about the bottle cap challenge. It was started last week by UFC fighter Max Holloway, who did a spinning kick. I don't know, is that a roundhouse kick? Some kind of kick, and spun the top off of a water bottle. He then challenged, I think he challenged John Mayer, who did it as well. It's become kind of a thing with, of course, people doing variations on it. There's one where they just they act like they're going to do it, and then they just take the top off with their fingers. But apparently Mariah Carey has taken on the bottle cap challenge, and she has done it with her own usual style. She did not use a spin kick like other challengers. She posted the clip on her Instagram page today, on Sunday, and she's shown singing a high note. She's of course known for her 5-octave range, which is amazing. So she's shown singing a high note in front of a bottle, prompting its cap to fly off, which reminds me, of course, of that scene in Harry Potter when Dawn French is playing the fat lady, the portrait that guards the Gryffindor common room, and she's trying to sing the note so loud or high that she breaks the glass, which she doesn't accomplish. But at any rate, she wrote, "Challenge accepted." Mariah Carey, not Dawn French. Hashtag bottle cap challenge. Her ex-husband, Nick Cannon, commented hilarious with 4 exclamation points. And this is what they call a win, wrote actress Ruby Rose. "You win, hands down," agreed Rita Ora. So Jordan Sparks commented, "Ah, ha, 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 this is why you're the greatest," with a heart. So I don't know, it makes me laugh. The whole thing makes me laugh. Let's see. Other celebs who have taken on the bottle cap challenge, the quote-unquote old-fashioned way, this article says, old-fashioned because it's all of last week, include John Mayer, Blake Shelton, Ellie Goulding, David Spade, Ryan Reynolds, and Jason Statham. I have not tried this. I would I would either miss completely and land on my butt, or I would just send the entire bottle flying. Water would spray everywhere because, of course, the cap isn't on tight because, you're just spinning it off of a loose bottle, or a loose bottle cap on a bottle. So I'm not doing it because I would make a total moron of myself. Speaking of musicians, although not the bottle cap challenge, but this story is about Florence Welch, who recently said in an interview that she sometimes pretends she isn't famous to protect her sanity. She is, of course, she is Florence of Florence and the Machine, and she said in this interview, "I have this happy delusion that I'm not famous. To protect my sanity, I decided a while ago that I am not a celebrity. Performance, making music, has always seemed very safe to me, but being famous is corrosive and distracting and very bad for me. I genuinely don't know how some people deal with that every single day." She admitted that she feels terribly guilty about the way she's changed her own life. She told Q magazine, "I was a sensitive, dreamy kid, and when that intense hijacking by fame happens, I feel terribly guilty that I didn't protect that kid enough. I slingshotted her into this world." She recently experienced a crippling anxiety attack when her, she says, vanity made her step into the world of the famous by attending the Met Gala. She said, "It's not like I'm not vain. I am vain. I love clothes. So if a designer I love invites me to this huge fashion event to put me in an amazing outfit, I'm like, yes. But my vanity cracks my sanity when I get in that world." You'd think I'd just be used to it by now, but there's something so shocking about it. My brain just goes whoosh. I just think I can't measure up to what other people want from me. Following her anxiety attack, Florence spent days in tears and says she feels lucky that she has such understanding fans, as she had to stop her first show of the U.S. tour to tell the audience and let them know that she was struggling. She said, "I was crying on stage," which is cheesy even for me, "but I'm so lucky with the fan base, and I think it's to do with the vulnerability of the work. It means I attract quite sensitive people. I found myself saying, I know you've come to the High as Hope tour, but I'm effed. I'm a mess." Anxiety really is no joke, and it might seem strange to people who don't have it, but it can be extremely debilitating, and so I applaud her for being honest about her mental health issues, because, of course, if you're crying in the middle of a show, she's the the front person of this band. She's the one that people are looking at the most. And if she's crying while she's performing, people are going to wonder what is going on. They're going to speculate. And of course, some people are going to have negative comments for her admitting that she was having difficulty. But the majority of people, I would think, would be understanding and appreciative of the fact that she was able to be honest about it and admit what was going on with her. So good on her for that. We are going to take our last break of the podcast, and when we come back, we'll be turning to some movie news. Stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast, and I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. We are turning to some movie news, but this last section is pretty much all about Disney. We're going to start with the sadder news first so that we don't end on a down note, which I sometimes do, and I don't think about it beforehand. But the sad news of this segment is that Cameron Boyce, who was an actor, died recently he was only 20. He was a Disney Channel actor who starred in its TV series Jessie and the franchise Descendants. He died Saturday of an ongoing medical condition. His family told ABC News. As I said, he was only 20. It is with a profoundly heavy heart that we report that this morning we lost Cameron. A spokesperson for his family told ABC News. He passed away in his sleep due to a seizure, which was the result of an ongoing medical condition for which he was being treated. The world is now undoubtedly without one of its brightest lights, but his spirit will live on through the kindness and compassion of all who knew and loved him. We are utterly heartbroken and ask for privacy during this immensely difficult time as we grieve the loss of our precious son and brother. The Disney Channel released the following statement. From a young age, Cameron Boyce dreamed of sharing his extraordinary artistic talents with the world. He was an incredibly talented performer, a remarkably caring and thoughtful person, and above all else, he was a loving and dedicated son, brother, grandson, and friend. We offer our deepest condolences to his family, castmates, and colleagues, and join his many millions of fans in grieving his untimely passing. He will be dearly missed. Of course, other people came out to comment on, to pay tribute to the actor. Adam Sandler, who was his co-star in Grown Ups, said, "Too young, too sweet, too funny. Just the nicest, most talented, and most decent kid around. Loved that kid. Cared so much about his family, cared so much about the world. Thank you, Cameron, for all you gave to us. So much more was on the way. All our hearts are broken, thinking of your amazing family and sending our deepest condolences." And, of course, there were many other tributes as well. So just, condolences to his family and to his fans who are undoubtedly grieving as well, but definitely to his family. 20 is, any age is too young sometimes, but 20 is definitely too young, and to have it be somewhat unexpected, although he was being treated, it's just a very difficult situation. But moving on from that news, Disney is, they sometimes make choices that people get upset about, especially when it comes to their favorite Disney movies. And this week we have had an uproar. My goodness, people are grumpy because The Little Mermaid is being done as live action, as so many Disney movies are. And the casting of Ariel was announced this week to be Halle Bailey. And she happens to be a young black woman, and people are freaking out that Ariel cannot be black. They even started a petition, Not My Ariel. They are with the hashtag Not My Ariel. People are making quote unquote scientific arguments as to why Ariel can't be black. Some of the comments are kind of funny. Some of the comments are just downright ridiculous and racist in their, Oh, yeah, it's a mess. I am not going to comment on how crazy I think it is. I just did, but I'm not going to get up on a soapbox about this. But fed up with the comments, Disney's cable network Freeform responded with an open letter to the poor, unfortunate souls who found issue with Bailey's casting. They said, yes, the original author of The Little Mermaid was Danish. Ariel is a mermaid. She lives in an underwater kingdom in international waters and can legit swim wherever she wants, even though she often upsets King Triton, absolute zaddy, the Post read. But for the sake of argument, let's say that Ariel, too, is Danish. Okay, yes. Danish mermaids can be black because Danish people can be black, the letter continued. Ariel can sneak up to the surface at any time with her pals Scuttle and the Jamaican crab Sebastian, sorry flounder, and keep that bronze base tight. Black Danish people and this merfolk can also genetically have red hair. All of that aside, Freeform went on to remind people that the story and the character of Ariel was a work of fiction, further defending the grownish actress's casting. But, this is another quote, spoiler alert, bring it back to the top. The character of Ariel is a work of fiction, the network continued. So after all this is said and done, and you still cannot get past the fact that choosing the incredible, sensational, highly talented, gorgeous Halle Bailey is anything other than the inspired casting that it is, because she doesn't look like the cartoon, oh boy, do I have some news for you about you. Bailey has expressed her excitement for the new role with a post on Twitter. She said, dream come true. She tweeted it alongside the image of an Indian American Ariel singing Part of Your World while waves crashed behind her. They cast her. Rob Marshall said in a statement, after an extensive search, it was abundantly clear that Halle possesses that rare combination of spirit, heart, youth, innocence, and substance, plus a glorious singing voice, all intrinsic qualities necessary to play this iconic role. So there you have it. People are upset, but I think my favorite meme in response to this was something along the lines of Kevin Costner being cast as Robin Hood, even though in the cartoon it was a fox. I'm not saying that right, but it made me laugh a lot. So anyway, in response to the upsettedness of people, that's not a word, but I just made it up, there has been some really beautiful fan art of Halle as Ariel, and I'm excited to see the movie because I do like The Little Mermaid and I'm okay with the casting. Speaking of live action movies, have you seen the new trailer for Mulan, which is coming out in March of 2020? And it is live action as well. It's just amazing to me how many they're just going to redo every live action or every animated movie as a live action movie, it sounds like. But they have released the new teaser trailer as well as the poster for their movie. It is, of course, an adaptation of the 1998 animated film. And it comes out, it's released March 27th of 2020. The synopsis: when the Emperor of China issues a decree that one man per family must serve in the imperial army to defend the country from northern invaders, Hua Mulan, the eldest daughter of an honored warrior, steps in to take the place of her ailing father. Masquerading as a man, Huajun. She is tested every step of the way and must harness her inner strength and embrace her true potential. It is an epic journey that will transform her into an honored warrior and earn her the respect of a grateful nation and a proud father. Let's see, it features a celebrated international cast that includes Yifei Liu as Mulan, Donnie Yen as Commander Tung, Jason Scott Lee as Bori Khan, Yosan An as Chang Huanghui, and Gong Li as Zhang Zhang, and Jet Li as the Emperor. Anybody remember what was the little dragon's name that was voiced by Eddie Murphy? I can't think of it. Anyway, the film is directed by Nikki Caro from a screenplay by Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver and Elizabeth Martin and Lauren Hynek, based on the narrative poem The Ballad of Mulan. And the official trailer, the teaser trailer, is out. Watched it today. Looks very fun. I am excited. I know that there are a lot of people, well, of course there are a lot of people excited about it. Everyone has their favorite Disney movie, and this is a lot of people's favorite. So hopefully they will do. Hopefully no one will be cranky about the casting. Although the casting was announced a while ago, now we have the teaser trailer. At any rate, we are going to wrap up this episode of the GSMC Entertainment Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, and join me again next time when we'll see what else is going on in the world of entertainment.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Entertainment Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.